Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our Tuesday Times Roundtables in-person series. Today's topic is Small Steps to Big Waves, Clean Miami Beach, and the Fight Against Plastic Pollution. My name is Jeena Mendoza Farjan, and I'm the Senior Program Coordinator at the Office of Global Learning Initiatives. The Tuesday Times Roundtable is the Office of Global Learning Initiatives' flagship discussion series that brings together multiple perspectives on global issues and trends. All the TTR sessions are recorded, and you can also find more about TTR by going to go.fiu.edu/TTR. If you haven't had a chance to sign in, we'll ask you to scan the QR code that is in front of you in the screen. This is to make sure that your attendance gets recorded. So whether you're here for Global Learning Medallion points, also for Honors College, engagement points, or whatever brought you to us, we're just happy that you're here with us. Also, as you engage in today's session, we ask you to raise your hand. We do have a couple of mics running around the room, so that way we capture also your engagement in the recording. So one of our staff members will bring that over to you. Okay, also the global learning, we do have a lot of programs and also initiatives as well available for the students. So there is the Peace Corps Prep, the Global Learning Medallion, Millennium Fellowship, and scholarships. If you would like to learn more about it, visit one of us at the main entrance. And you can also visit the advising peer advisor hours. We do have them listed on the screen, but you can also go in Instagram and we'll have them listed there for you. Also, we would like to invite you this Thursday. The Global Learning Student Board is going to be having an event, Meet the Board. So please come join us. It's going to be on Thursday, September 25th, from 2 o'clock to 4 p.m. In the Primera Casa, room 249. Okay, and our Tuesday Times Roundtable, they are always connected to a news article. This is because FIU has a partnership with the New York Times. So everyone that has an email address get digital access to the New York Times. So feel free to activate your account at accessnyt.com. And then today's article, you may find it at go.fiu.edu/TTR0923. We also connect our Tuesday Times Roundtable to the Sustainable Development Goals. Today's session is connected to SDG number 14, Life Below Water, to conserve and sustain our oceans and seas and the marine resources for sustainable development. All right, and now it is my great pleasure to introduce today's presenter, Jeena Prasertlum. She is the Program Manager for Clean Miami Beach, where she manages all educational partnerships and programs. A little bit about Jeena. She earned her bachelor's degree in marine science from the University of Florida in 2021. She also received her master's from the University of Central Florida, working with Dr. Mansfield Marine Turtle Research Group. She was the National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellow, and her research focused on long-term trends in reproductive output of 3 sea turtle species. Jeena is very passionate about outreach and education, promoting equal opportunities for minorities in STEM fields, and using her research and experience to inspire conservation action and public engagement. So let's welcome Jeena with a big round of applause.
Let me see if this works. Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Okay, awesome. Well, that was a really great introduction. Thank you all so much for being here and being here to learn more about what Clean Miami Beach does. So as a little bit of a run through of how it's going to go today, first I'm going to talk about the organization itself, what we do, what our mission is, kind of what we've been doing for the time that we've existed. Then we're going to go a little bit into talking a little bit more science about plastic, the history of plastic, how plastic is trending, and what we can do in the future to hopefully help reduce our plastic use and live a little bit more sustainably. After that, we're gonna switch over to, I don't know if any of you guys have ever used this platform called Slido. It's basically like a discussion platform. If you guys have your phones, I'll have a QR code on the screen where basically it'll take you to the website, and I'll prompt some discussion questions. You guys can answer from your phones. If you guys are shy, you don't wanna say anything out loud, you can answer from your phones. And then after, once we can see all the answers, we'll have a little bit more of an open discussion if anyone wants to share in person or anything like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So first, I want to share a little bit about what Clean Miami Beach is. So have any of you guys ever heard of us before? Raise your hands. Oh my gosh, amazing. I love that. Well, great that we had some Clean Miami Beach supporters here. So as a little bit of a background, we are a nonprofit organization, and essentially we are dedicated to keeping our community and natural habitats free of harmful pollutants, free of garbage, free of plastic waste. And really our goal is to educate residents, educate the youth, and educate the community about how they can reuse, how they can live more sustainably, and how they can reduce their plastic consumption. So basically a little bit of background on how it started. So this is our founder here over on the right, Sophie Wrinkle, and she started this. It was a one-woman show, let me tell you, and that is also a different story about resilience and how one person can truly make a huge impact. I know it's very easy to feel that as one person, what am I going to do in such a large situation? But our founder really proves that. So Sophie, she moved here from Germany, and if you guys aren't familiar with German culture, it's very different from American culture in the sense that they have no single-use plastic items. They properly recycle, they compost. Everything is so sustainable there. So when she came to the States, it came as kind of a shock. She was like, wait, why? I'm dining in at a restaurant. Why are they giving me plastic utensils? Why aren't they giving me real utensils? So there was always this little kind of thing in the back of her mind. And she moved to Miami Beach, and she would walk every morning along the shoreline, and she realized there was so much trash everywhere, right by her neighborhood. And she was like, I have to do something about this. So it started with just her and one other friend doing weekly cleanups. Every Tuesday they'd meet up, be like, hey, let's meet up and let's do a 1-hour cleanup. Just simple as that. And now how it's going, we are a huge community. I mean, a lot of you guys have heard of us. We are a huge community of so many. We've worked with thousands and thousands of volunteers up to this point, and we're really proud that we've been able to, showcase and really expand our network. So as again, she started it back in 2019. And since then, it was really steady, continuous growth. It took a while for it to pick up, but people started seeing what she was doing. She would post it on Instagram, post it online, and it started gaining traction. People were like, wow, what you're doing is really amazing. Let's keep this going. Let me join this effort. So it started from one person to then 20, then 40, then 50, then 200 people at a cleanup. And she was like, wait, I got to do something about this. We have grown this community, and that's when she decided to become an official nonprofit organization. And I'm very happy to say that we are just recently celebrated 6 years of Clean Miami Beach. So we have been officially a nonprofit organization for 6 years, and we are so excited about continuing to, further this impact. So since the beginning of Clean Miami Beach, we've hosted 512 cleanups, which I would say is absolutely mind-blowing. We've removed over 132,000 pounds of trash from our coastlines. Just this Saturday, we had our biggest cleanup of the year. It was our International Coastal Cleanup, where we actually cleaned up on the Julia Tuttle Causeway. If you guys are ever familiar driving over to Miami Beach, that's likely the highway you're driving over. Right there next to the highway, in that green area and that coastline area, there is so much leftover trash and waste that people either dump there or gets washed in, and no one really occupies themselves or takes care of that, right? So we went there and we collected 4,000 pounds of trash in just 2 hours at that location. Question, yeah?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for coming
Of
and
course.
for the work you do.
Yeah.
My question is, what happens with all the trash you collect?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I have an answer that is probably you're not gonna like, but I also don't like it either. So there's one of two things that happens with the trash. So if any of you guys are familiar with the way that recycling works, it's a very difficult process. It's a very complex process. So in order for recycling to be truly effective, it has to be done properly, and people need to make sure that they are properly reading what can and can't be recycled. So unfortunately, because there's so many different types of plastics and different rules and regulations for recycling, oftentimes what happens is that recycling items get contaminated. And most of what we pick up at our cleanups, those are all contaminated waste. So meaning that they are full of dirt, full of unknown liquids, just completely gross, and that we are not able to recycle. If we were to, let's say, bag it all up and take it to recycle, it would unfortunately contaminate all the clean plastic that's in the recycling, therefore making the recycling effort less. So unfortunately, what happens to this trash is really we're moving it from one place to another. We're picking it up from our coastlines, which is great in terms of protecting our environment and the animals that use this space, but it's just going to the landfill. However, recently we've been partnering with the One Hotel in Miami Beach. They're a really sustainable hotel. If any of you guys ever want to have a little staycation in Miami Beach, I highly recommend the One Hotel. They are so sustainable in everything they do. And they actually have a really incredible position for someone who looks through all their garbage and sorts and cleans everything with the recycling. So we are actually able to take our recycling that may otherwise be contaminated, full of liquids, dirt, etc., bring it over to the One Hotel, and they actually clean it and properly recycle it for us. So that's really exciting. We just started that, so we're hoping we can do some more of that, but otherwise it goes to the landfill. Yeah, good question though. All right, so, and we've also worked with and inspired over 21,000 volunteers. So the core of Clean Miami Beach is really the community and really bringing everyone together. So we offer tons of opportunities for people to get involved in the community, and we're happy to say that we've touched the hearts of over 21,000 volunteers. We do a lot in Clean Miami Beach. One of our recent projects is our Citizen Science Project, and we pride ourselves in being really thorough in the data that we collect in terms of all the trash that we find. So as I mentioned, we've organized over 500 cleanups, and at every single one of these cleanups, we have our data sheet. We categorize every single type of item that we're finding. We categorize how many plastic water bottles, how many aluminum cans, how many glass bottles. So we have all these categories, and it might be a little bit of an extra effort for us, but it really serves as a really good talking point for advocacy. We do a lot of advocacy where we take these numbers and we show people, we say, hey, this is what we're finding. We're not stopping finding these items. We need to do something about it. And the opportunity for people to get involved in a citizen science project. So we worked with the 5 Gyres. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the 5 Gyres organization, but we did a trash blitz, basically where we created a report on the plastic that we're finding within South Florida and how we can provide solutions for that. So we do a lot of things, a lot of collaboration with other organizations, and we're really proud to say that. And then as was mentioned, I am the program manager for Clean Miami Beach. So I manage a lot of our educational programs and any sort of community outreach with students, etc. So since our program launched in 2022, we have 3 main programs. We have our Classroom on the Sand program, where we take students from the classroom onto the beach directly so they can truly experience the impact of the waste that we are creating here. So they get to do a beach cleanup, we get to talk about the plastic, etc. We also have our microplastic art workshop. A lot of students really love this, especially our artistic students, because we're always about finding ways to repurpose our trash, right? We don't just want to take it and then move it to the landfill. So we try to find ways to see how we can repurpose that. So we take a lot of these plastic fragments or small items that we find in our cleanups, and we host art workshops where students can then make art from the plastic that we find, which is a really great opportunity. We like to call it artivism, right? To kind of send that broad message. And then we also do things like school presentations like I'm doing now to hopefully reach more of the community, reach more students, and inspire students. So this is an example of our microplastic art workshop. You can see here we have these pre-cut wooden items. We create these amazing art pieces that then go towards this exhibition we have called the Plastic Aquarium, where we display all the students' artwork in this plastic aquarium with different fish, organisms, stuff like that. It's a really impactful message. Something else that we did that is super exciting, and we hope to do it again. If any of you guys are any artistic or want to be involved, let me know, because we're looking for people, is our Hurricane of Trash. So this was an amazing art installation that we did, again, kind of under that artivism inspiration, where we created 400 pounds of this trash, and we converted it into art. And we had this displayed, and it was really a strong message to show, look at all of this. This is all from trash that we were finding at our coastlines. This is another impactful message to really hopefully get people involved into our organization and to care about our environment. So as I mentioned before, a lot of what we do is also advocacy. So of course, it's really important for us to do beach cleanups. It's really important to take that first step, but we know that beach cleanups are not the solution. no matter what, we've been doing beach cleanups for 6 years and we're still finding trash every single time. So we realized that we can't just completely take away plastic by just doing beach cleanups. We have to go higher up, right? So we advocate for a lot of different bills and ordinances to be passed. And I want to highlight one that we recently just got passed. So we actually banned glitter and artificial flower petals from Miami Beach, from public parks, anything like that. And we were finding them so often at our cleanups. And Miami Beach is a beautiful place. People go there, they do proposals, they have birthday parties, and that's beautiful. And we love that people love to celebrate. But we need to make sure that people understand that in doing the celebration, you have to do it sustainably, especially if you're going to be doing this on a beach, right? And with Miami weather, especially now, we have rain, we have wind, we have all these things. These artificial flower petals blow away, and we find them so often in the dunes, in the waterways, everything like that. And what people don't realize is the harm that this has to our environment and to the animals in this environment. So we're really excited about that. But some other things that we've done is we've helped in banning the cigarette butts on the beach, banning plastic straws, banning balloons in parks and public spaces, as well as banning the intentional release of balloons statewide. So all of these things we've been involved in, we've advocated for. We've been up to Tallahassee to talk with our representatives. We've been up to DC to talk with our lawmakers. So we're really proud to say that we do that as well. So I wanted to just really quick throw this in there. So we have tons of student opportunities. If you guys care about the environment, if you guys want to do, give me 1 second and then I'll get to you. You're good. If you guys want to be involved in any way, so we have opportunities for you to get, extra community service hours, volunteer hours. We also have opportunities for you to become a crew member, which is a paid position with us where you help us in collecting the data for, at our cleanups, helping us sort the trash, helping us get that data together. And it's a really cool opportunity to be involved in our organization, see how nonprofits work. You get a lot of leadership opportunities as well as engagement and talking to the public and et cetera. So we have a lot of cool things there. If you're interested in that, we can go over it later. I'll be here and hanging out if any of you guys want to talk. Question?
Me again. Hi. It kind of ties into what you moved to after. My question was, how can students or we as members of the community get involved and help? Especially, I know we can come clean up, but I would be interested in advocacy and how can we help you advocate or join, or if we can sign stuff.
Right.
And especially because of I'm also from Europe, and when you mentioned Germany, what was shocking for me when I came first is the plastic bags at grocery stores. They just bag it for you, one item in 5 plastic bags. Yes. And I'm like, I don't need that much.
Exactly.
And recently I lived up north, and in Hollywood there is a Publix what only uses paper bags. Mm-hmm. And it's a new thing. And I'm like, if they can do it there, why can't they do it in other Publixes? So that's why I would be interested in what can we do as members of community?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. So kind of tying into our advocacy. So one thing, so we do have an Instagram and a pretty strong online presence, and there we always post what we call call to actions. So we do the hard part for you. We do the research. We find the petitions. We find, what it is that we're trying to do, and we share it with you guys so that you guys can have the opportunity to look into it, sign it, etc. I feel like with advocacy and with things like this, it's, it takes a lot of research to look into these things and a lot of time, because you want to make sure that you're making the right decision. You want to make sure that you're not just signing something just because someone said so. So we try to bring forth all the facts, all the resources for you, the links to things, etc., so that you can go ahead and read it over yourself, and we provide direct links for you to sign it and share. So what you can do, one thing that's very simple, and I know we're all on social media, check out our Instagram whenever we have call to actions. If it's something you resonate with and you're passionate about, share it. Share it with your followers, share it with your family, share it with your friends. It's all about educating each other. So that's one really great way. Something else is we do actually have a program that's a little bit of a work in progress, but also is happening, where we actually are able to take, depending on the funds, around 2 to 3 students to Washington, D.C. with us to lobby and advocate for these the things that we're supporting. So if you guys are interested in that, that's also a really great opportunity. If you are interested in environmental policy or anything like that in the future, that's a great opportunity to get experience in speaking to your officials. It can be really scary to go up and fight for what you want, especially to someone who, you know, you see as someone who's all the way at the top and you're like, I'm just a student, what do I do? But we provide those opportunities for students to get that experience, to really come out of their shell and work on that. As a more individual and community level, I'd really say, one, definitely come to our cleanups, because it's not just a cleanup, we do a lot of education at our cleanups as well. So we educate all our participants on why what they're doing today is important. We don't just say, hey, go pick up trash, without saying the why. Why are we asking you to pick up trash, right? So at our cleanups, it serves as an educational point as well, where then, we always give out people surveys and stuff, and people always say that after our cleanups, they learned so much more. They had no idea, XYZ this about plastic, XYZ this about our waste in Miami-Dade. And then from there, they let us know, hey, I actually talked to my mom about this, and now she changed her mind, or now I talked to my kids, and now they're like advocating for this. So I really say, be as involved as you can with what we do, and also just share your knowledge and share what you learn. Yes. Hi.
I was wondering about one question about like when you say you remove trash to another place. Do you consider using those trash to build a renewable energy, to use those trash to build electricity around the community? Have you planned that?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. We have not, but we do work with a lot of different sustainable or like organizations that have that kind of sustainability as their mission. So we work with this organization called Spearmint Energy, and that's exactly kind of what they do, kind of looking for renewable energy. We haven't gotten as far as planning something to do that, but I think that's a really good idea. And because we work with Spearmint Energy, I think I'm going to try and talk to them about that. But again, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with how nonprofit life is, but it is so booked and busy 24/7. We are only a team of 3 of us. So we are doing the best we can with the resources we have, and that is an incredible idea, and I will definitely put it towards thinking about. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah.
About like the funds, who funds you?
Great question. That's what everyone wants to know, right? Yeah. So I'm only speaking for our nonprofit specifically. So the majority of our funds come from private sponsors, private donations, or through grants that we have. So, for example, one of the programs that we offer is a corporate sponsorship program, where essentially it serves as a way for a corporation to give back. They like it because it's a tax write-off. Let's be honest, But it's a way for them to do kind of like a team outing or something good for the environment. A lot of big companies, we've worked with Prada, we worked with Tiffany & Co., we've worked with Pepsi, we worked with just all these big name companies that you can think of, because they all have some sort of sustainability program that they need to, achieve some goal within that program. And by doing a cleanup with us, that serves as, fulfilling their check mark. But it is a great way, because we feel that we're not just providing them with like a team outing or an experience out, we're educating them. Because a lot of these people, like from these big companies, they don't think about the impacts of what maybe a plastic bag may do, or what, for example, when we work with Pepsi, what a plastic bottle may do. So we're really happy to say that we work with a lot of organizations that they come back year and year and year, and they even tell us, hey, ever since you told me that, in our office we implemented XYZ sustainable program, XYZ. So grants, we get grants from the city, mainly grants from the city, and then from private donors. Cool. All right, so student opportunities, definitely talk to me after if you're interested. Yes?
Hi, first of all, thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely,
with
of
this
course.
presentation and for your work.
Yeah.
I have one question, because when you mentioned working with like Coca-Cola and all that stuff, I find it a little bit ironic, because most of the plastic that you find is probably like bottles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all that. So are you working alongside with those companies to maybe advocate internally with those companies to reduce the use of single-use plastic?
Yes, we try so very hard. Sometimes it's really difficult to get through to them, because in the end, it all comes back to, unfortunately, money, and they tell us, hey, like, this is why we have a sustainable program. We come out, we do cleanups, and that's what we can do now, but like, unfortunately, like, plastic is cheaper, or XYZ. So it can become a little bit discouraging because, of course, we try our best to educate these companies, and we say, hey, you know, we're finding a lot of your bottles at our cleanups. Like, we find so many Coke products, so many Pepsi products, so many Corona, you know, and I think, is Corona Anheuser-Busch, Jen? No, Budweiser. But anyway, like, just so many, and we try and tell them, hey, by the way, so when do I have it here? So this trash blitz that we did not only categorized the type of materials that we were finding, but also the brands of them as well, so we could hold the brands accountable. And the number one brand, I believe, was Anheuser-Busch, and then second to whatever the parent company for Coke is, that was like the next one. So they know, because we share this information with them. However, it's very hard for us as a nonprofit to have that voice, but that was a long answer. In short, we do try our best. We have some impact with smaller companies, like more local companies. They have, you know, more the means to do this, but these larger companies where they have to go through so many hoops and all the people to kind of do something like this becomes very difficult, but we are trying. Question over here, or whoever was first.
Is this on?
Yeah, I can. Yeah,
Okay.
you're good.
When it comes to outreach,
Yeah.
do you find it's more important to cover things over social media or to handle things through local word of mouth?
I think what has the most impact is those in-person connections when we do our events and we're talking to people face-to-face has the most impact. However, I don't think it has the most reach. So whenever we use our social media, I think we have about like 40,000 followers on our Instagram, and that is how we normally get the message across to a broader group of people. However, we were actually talking about this morning, how we feel that social media is a really great tool because it allows us to reach multiple people, you know, so many people at once, but it also feels a little bit impersonal. And sometimes people read it and like it's so easy for us to just like keep scrolling, see something and be like, okay, you know, whatever. Versus when we have more of those in-person connections, in-person interactions, people feel more that you're talking directly to them and not them as a collective, if that makes sense. So I would say if we want to get someone into our mission and really involved, I would talk to them face to face.
And then
Yeah.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
What would you say is like the biggest culprit in terms of all the beach cleanups that you've done? Is it like the plastic bags like from Publix, or is it like plastic bottles from like Coca-Cola or whatever?
Yeah, I would say, I was actually looking at the numbers the other day. Surprisingly, one of our top items is our cigarette butts. And that's ironic because as you might have remembered before, smoking on the beach is illegal. You're not allowed to do that. However, we still find thousands of cigarette butts all the time. Like, I think I was looking at the numbers the other day. We did like 22 cleanups for the city of Miami Beach as part of a grant, and within those 22 cleanups, we found almost 11,000 cigarette butts. A lot. So I would say it's a lot of cigarette butts, but of course, I even think sometimes we're underestimating cigarette butts because there's no way that we can count and pick up every single cigarette butt. I mean, these things, especially, I don't know how familiar you are with the structure of a cigarette butt. So you have your normal one, and it's, you know, with the brown and the white kind of paper wrapping on the outside, but it's plastic on the inside. Did you guys know that? People think that, a lot of people that I talk to think that cigarettes are paper, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll throw it away on the ground and it'll go away. The inner portion, that little mesh gauze, that is plastic, and that stays forever. So we're always picking up those items. So I'd say cigarette butts. Next, I'd probably say our plastic water bottles. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
I really just have some follow-up. So
Yeah.
in addition to you making the comment about that personal connection, meeting people one-on-one, first of all, amazing that you're taking students to DC. That is phenomenal. But local government is probably more important. So a way to get involved, like there's the letter writing campaigns, the calling campaigns, but showing up in commission meetings holds a lot of weight because they're seeing your face and they're knowing you're a voter. If you made the time to make it to a commission meeting and wear the T-shirt and, you know, they know that you're going to make it out to the polls too. So I just wanted to add that. And then the comment about the Publix with the paper bags being a new thing. Before we had the plastic bags, we had the paper bags.
Yeah.
And but what happens with that? It is cheaper to provide the plastic that's derived from fossil fuels, but the paper bag, you have to weigh out the emissions in transporting the weight of the paper bag. So, as notable and great as it is that they are only using paper, please consider bringing your reusable.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that. So first, to touch on your comment about local government, we actually do a lot of that as well. So we actually, all three of us were at a commission meeting, was it this week? Last week, where we spoke on the flower petal banning. And it is true, I agree, like working with your local government is really important, showing up to the meetings, because they're seeing your face every single day, and they know the second you walk in the door, every time you walk in, they know, oh man, Clean Miami Beach is here. They're gonna say something this time, you know? But it's a good thing. It's a good thing they know who you are, and they know what you're gonna speak about, because it shows that you're resilient, and you're there showing up every single day for what you believe in. So as part of that program that I was talking about with taking students to DC, part of it is also gonna be them working with us locally with our local government, because we have really good ties with our local government. A lot of them sponsor our cleanup events. They sponsor our educational programs as well. So I agree. I think it's super important at the local level. And then as far as the paper bags, 100% agree with you, because, you know, and as you guys heard, you know, my background, I'm a scientist, I'm a marine scientist. So of course, that is what I learned. You know, you learn about your emissions, you learn about climate change, you learn about everything, but there's so much that you don't even think about. You're like, oh yeah, paper's better than plastic. But I'm like, what about everything else? It's so hard to really think about what you're saying, the emissions, the transport, the everything. So yeah, all in all, best thing to do is definitely bring your own tote bag from home. And I mean, it carries more things, it's more personal, it's just, I don't know how else to advertise it, but I mean, if even like just care about the environment, you bring it. If you want a cute bag that's personalized and your own, you bring it. You know, it's 100% agree. Anyone else? No? Cool. I like that you guys are asking me all these questions. I feel like I had this whole presentation, and I don't even think I'm going to need all of it, because we're just talking, and I love that. So let me skip a few things, because we kind of covered a lot of, okay, so really quick. So you might be thinking, well, I mean, I always think this to myself. We host all these beach cleanups. We've hosted 500 cleanups, but there's still so much plastic everywhere. Why? Why? Before I go into it, why? Why is there so much plastic everywhere? Anyone have an answer? Or somewhat of an answer? Some thought? It's a loaded question, I will say. Yeah, consumerism, 100%. Yeah, I mean, these plastics have been marketed to us since around the 1950s. So it started being mass-produced since World War II. And basically, the rate of production of these synthetic plastics has really doubled every single year since that time. And we have produced an estimated around of 9 billion tons of plastic. And when they initially started marketing this to people, it was not meant to be sustainable. Like, recycling was just used as kind of this marketing strategy. Yeah, you can recycle it, but it wasn't advertised that way. So I want to point out, so there's this article that came out, the Life magazine, and it was literally called Throwaway Living, this article. And it was essentially marketed as like, hey, use plastic. It makes your life so much easier. It makes your family life so much easier. You don't have to clean up after your kids. Are we serious right now? So you would see things like this. These are the kinds of ads that you would see. The best things in life come in cellophane. Okay, interesting, very interesting. Something else. They would advertise these, Dixie cups, these like red Solo cups, and it's very small, but I'll read them to you. It says, no more piled up counters and sinks, right? No more between meal dishwashing. No more glasses to be dried and put away. No more broken glasses. So really, they were just targeting like how lazy we are, I think, because they're saying, hey, you're super busy, just use this plastic cup one time and throw it away. When we know for years and years we've been doing fine with our regular glass cups or whatever, metal cups, anything, right? But this is how it was marketed, and it exploded. And I get it. We are so busy. Like, I understand. Like, everyone has a super busy life. Can't even imagine a mom of, however many kids. Your life is busy. But this advertisement just took it way over the edge. What do you guys think about these advertisements? hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious, but like also really sad. Like, are we serious that this was the way that we were marketing this? So when you really think about it, so as I mentioned, it really started being mass-produced in the 1950s. Plastic has only been around for 0.0004% of human existence. And people think to this day, I can't live without plastic. Yes, you can. We did it. How did our ancestors live without plastic? I'm pretty sure we can do it too, right? So this is something, that's a really shocking statistic that I like to tell people, because people always say, oh, but it's just so easy to just use a plastic plate or use a plastic. And I'm like, I get it, but we were okay without it. Like, and people say, oh, but I can't live without plastic. Yes, you can. Yeah. It started really being mass-produced around the 1950s. So it was like 75 or so years ago? Not that long. And then all this plastic, 50% of it is single-use plastic. So 50% is made to be used once and then thrown away. We recognize we have other plastic products that are made, but that people are intended to reuse them. But this 50% is talking about our plastic water bottles you use once you throw away, plastic cups, plastic utensils, etc. Question?
Yeah. Are there statistics on use of plastic in the U.S. compared to other parts of the world? And
yes.
If so, what are they?
So where do I have it? Well, I have it somewhere. So this was, so the average person in the U.S. produces around 5 pounds of trash per day. In Miami-Dade, we produce double that. I really think about this, and I'm not really sure why we produce double kind of the average that the people in the U.S. produce. But I was ready for that question because I love to share this, and it makes you really think, what are we doing in Miami-Dade? Do you guys have any thoughts on why you think we may, as Miami-Dade, South Florida, produce or use, more trash? Anyone? Yeah, we got some 2 hands here. I don't know who. Yeah.
No, in other states, like I visited, Philly or other DC, New York, they don't give bag, they expect us to bring our tote bag or our reusable bag in the grocery stores, maybe.
Yeah.
But here, they
just readily give them away. That's a good point. Yeah, they're just take it. Yeah.
I feel like the locals here, everybody's unique and has their own personality, but in general, I think Miami has this very consumeristic, hustle, fast culture.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's more driven by image. I think especially just tourists and things like that.
Yeah.
It has this image to it.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely contributes to the plastic.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hi, hello. Thank you again for coming today. I was gonna say something similar too, with just the huge Miami's just that image. It's that place you want to go to look flashy, and a lot of people from other states or other countries going to South Florida and just the beach and just the clubbing too, the clubbing culture and everything. So just that huge tourist attraction area for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And yeah, we're so humans as a whole, we're so materialistic, but I think here for sure, considering all of this, fast-paced lifestyle, fast everything. And speaking of, I also think about fast fashion. Here, people want to get all these different outfits and for clubbing and going out, and they rely on these fast fashion sources that are super terrible. And we actually have an event coming up that's going to be talking about fast fashion and waste within the fashion industry. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know, and I'll give you the deets. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, completely unsubstantiated, right? But my Cuban immigrant family and parents refuse to use the dishwasher, and I'm like, it saves water, and it makes life easy, and they will say, no, I absolutely just prefer to use paper and then throw it away. So I wonder too if that immigrant mentality, that really it's the poverty, right? The growing up in poverty mentality and putting in that labor, if that also makes it so that it's the convenience of it makes it that much more huge.
Yes. So I'm also Cuban. My mother is Cuban. And every time I go home, you know what the dishwasher is filled with? Storage. Clean dishes, pans. I'm like, what are we doing here? But it's not a unique experience, right? Like a lot of Hispanic households are like this. And I was actually talking to someone the other day exactly that. I think because they grew up with nothing, now they want to have everything. And I get that. Like, I mean, when you come here to the US and like you see this plethora of like opportunity and things that you could have here, you're thinking, oh my God, I got to take advantage of it all, because for the first however many years of my life, I had none of this. And that's a really good point. And I think that because, the majority of people here in Miami-Dade come from Cuba or, Hispanic immigrants, like that's probably a good chance that it's that. Yeah.
I feel the need to point out that my grandmother doesn't use a dishwasher either, but that's because she doesn't seem to be aware that a dishwasher uses less water. It may kind of be an awareness thing. She grew up in the Depression at a time where dishwashers were really just something like not nearly as efficient as the ones we have today. That's it. I have a question that's adjacent to the production of waste. It's about how we handle the waste.
Yep.
I've heard that Miami-Dade only recycles a small amount of our recycling, period. And then other places like Palm Beach County, which has a dual stream system, is able to recycle the majority of their waste. Do you have any thoughts about handling the amount of waste we produce from the other side?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys heard recently, I guess semi-recently, that so the majority of the waste that we were producing and how it was getting taken care of was with the incinerator that we had in Doral, and that incinerator burnt down. So we no longer have that incinerator. And I do not agree with the incinerator, because all you're doing is you are burning all this plastic and trash, which then is emitting these terrible... There's lots of studies, but essentially, I don't know everything that's in it, but plastic contains lots of chemicals. We don't know for sure the effect that those chemicals have on us, on our environment, on anything like that, and we're just going to be burning all this plastic and emitting all these, fumes. So that's how we were dealing with the waste that we had. We're just burning everything. But now that we don't have that, everything is going to the landfills. But unfortunately, the landfills here are full. So now we're sending our trash somewhere else. My thoughts are we definitely need to figure this out, how we can properly dispose of our waste. But first, I think that we need to hit it at the source, which is one, the creation of the plastics with these larger companies, but two, also the education and awareness. Because there's so many people here that I feel that myself on an individual scale, but also with Clean Miami Beach, that I have really truly made an impact on some people's lives and really educated them on the impacts of plastic, not only on their health, on the environment, on organisms. I can tackle it from any perspective and get you to care. If you don't care about animals, okay, what about going to the beach and swimming in a clean ocean? You don't care about swimming in the ocean? What about your health? What about the health of your children? So there's a lot of different ways that you can tackle this to get everyone to care, but I think that's really important too, is the education of it, which is why it's so important for Clean Miami. Like, that's why that's part of our mission. So I would say tackling it at the source, the education. I don't know what we're doing about our landfills. They're completely full. I don't want another incinerator. It's a very difficult topic, but if you guys have ideas, come with us to some meetings and we'll hit them hard. Yeah. I can hear you though. Yeah.
This is very interesting to me, because Miami is Florida is like the most similar state to where I'm from. I'm from the Bahamas, and in 2020, we completely stopped doing plastic anything. We had to have like the paper, the plates, the straws. I have to carry a tote bag. That's why I bring a tote bag over here now. Like, because marine life is so important to us. Our beaches, we're known for like those things, and we have to protect our marine ecosystems. So they were like, it was such a problem, like plastic and Kentucky boxes in the water.
Oh my goodness.
Free suns. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And we made that transition to that. And to see that this is a thing in Miami, especially since they're also known for similar.
Yeah.
Just really atrocious.
I agree. I think it is atrocious. I think that unfortunately we have our priorities a little bit confused. I think that, like you mentioned, I mean, Florida, we're a peninsular state. Like, we are surrounded by water. We have so much incredible marine life that not only, if you're like an environmental nerd, of course you want to see these animals. If you come as a tourist, you want to see these animals. Just people want to see these things. And then when they realize that, you know, using this plastic or using, you know, XYZ or not being sustainable is harming them, I think it's hard for people to see it because you don't see that impact immediately, right? Like, you don't think, okay, I'm drinking from this plastic water bottle, I'm going to throw it away. The second you throw it away, you forget anything after that because you don't know what happened to that plastic water bottle. So you say, oh, that's not my problem, right? And I think that's what a lot of people here think, unfortunately. That's not my problem. I don't know what happens. I already threw it away, and now it's not my responsibility. So people become detached from that. And what hopefully I'm doing here and what I'm trying to do with the community is get them to realize that your impact, while one person can make an incredible change like Sophie did, one person can also do negative change as well, right? Because it's not just one person that thinks that way. Imagine how many people think, oh, I'm just using one single-use plastic water bottle. That doesn't matter. Imagine we have billions of people in this world. You're not the only person that thinks that way. There's millions of people that think, oh, I'm just using one plastic water bottle, but that one plastic water bottle turns into millions, right? So I think that people need to recognize that their actions, individual or not, still creating a big impact. I think that we should probably get rid of plastic too, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen here.
Here at FIU, we are definitely student-centered, and we care about the students' opinion. So if you were to attend an event, like there was family weekend events that just passed, and there's this event here, if you notice in the lobby when you picked up a refreshment or something, these were all like compostable products or reusable products. That's here. But if you went to another event, you might notice the plastic forks, the paper plates that are lined with wax. Please be vocal in a nice way and ask organizers, have you considered using compostables? Because these are areas that one person, you can really scale up in this community right here at FIU. Every day you can pass by a situation that you can make better just by raising awareness, saying something politely to the right person, or finding out, where, just tell them you care. And when people keep hearing over and over again, wow, people keep commenting that we're not using compostables, we better find out how to use compostables, they'll make the switch. Some of these changes do cost a little more on the front end, but once we start centralized purchasing or purchasing in bulk, we bring the price down. So then the plastics, become the more expensive option. And we know it's the more expensive option in the long run when you factor in our environmental cost and our health cost.
That's really great that you bring that up. And I think it also brings me to the fact that, you guys are in college, and this is the time now where you get to explore what you're really passionate about, and in your studies and everything like that. And it sounds like you guys have a really supportive community here, really supportive people who are student driven, willing to listen. And I think that it's really easy to feel scared to step up and stand up for what you believe in. But I really do think that, especially in this college environment, you have to go for it. You have to be that go-getter person to really fight for what you believe in. And I know for sure, when I was, in college, I was always kind of scared, I don't like that, but I'm not really going to say anything. But now I let go of my fear. I let go of feeling like who am I to say anything? And now I'm here. I graduated, I got my master's degree. I've done so many things, and not kind of tooting my own horn, but not. But also just I really I'm the reason that I'm here, and I fought for all these things. I talk to people to get things done, and that's exactly what you guys can do here. And you're gonna face some situations where someone might tell you, oh, we can't do that, but maybe, let's keep this conversation open, and maybe you can continue, maybe, hey, we can't do that, but they can lead you to someone else who might be able to help you with that. So there's always little avenues that you can take, and I think that's super awesome, and it sounds like FIU has a really great supportive community, so I love that. So hopefully you guys feel, safe and welcome to express those opinions, and maybe look for some, if you work for, anywhere here in FIU or any clubs or anything, and they're on plastic, get them. Get them? Yeah, get them. Any other questions? I'm going to skip. We talked about a lot of these things. I'm going to skip to, do you guys have your phones with you? Can you guys scan this QR code for me? So I know we've kind of been having a discussion this whole time, but I kind of want to further kind of ask you guys some questions that I had. So let me know when you guys are ready on the page. And I'm going to open up this question. So what you should see now is a question that says, what word comes to mind when you think about plastic? You guys see that? Yes? Yeah. And then as you start typing, it'll auto-populate in here for me and I can see it. So yeah, I think that majority plastic pretty much has I'd say like a little bit of a negative connotation, especially now, especially if you are an environmentalist or you do, study environmentalism, you hear so much about plastic and plastic pollution, plastic waste, plastic this, plastic that. And you heard about it a lot today here too. And I don't want to make this so negative. Like, of course, my goal is to educate you guys on how you can help reduce your plastic consumption, but I know 100%, even within myself, I can't get rid of all the plastic in my life. And I don't want you guys to feel that, I still have this plastic bag, like I'm a terrible person. Like, that's not what we're doing. Like, every action, no matter how small, makes a great impact. Even you just educating your friend, educating someone else, that's already an amazing impact as well. So don't think that you have to be perfect. Don't think that you have to completely get rid of all plastic in your life. It's not realistic. And we know we have to be realistic with these things. We can't, because the second you scare people into it, the second you tell them, this is bad, never, never, never use it, it gets a little scary. And then people freak out and then they're like, I don't know if I want to do this, right? So, with all these things, I want you guys to think that do what you can. Be the best version of yourself you can be, whatever you're passionate about, environmentalism, animals, your health, anything like that in relation to this plastic, do whatever you can, but don't beat yourself up about it, right? And that's huge main message. I know it can get really overwhelming because this is such a large issue. It's a global issue, right? And you may think, I'm one person in Miami, I'm a student, I am 20 years old, what am I doing here? Don't feel that way. Do what you can, do your best, and just keep moving forward. Okay, so I'm going to open up this next question. So it doesn't have to be full sentences or anything like that, but what individual actions and community efforts can effectively address plastic pollution? We kind of touched on a couple of these things earlier as well, but I want to get everyone's thoughts. I see reuse, yes. Educating others. Advocacy. Don't use plastic. Yes. Reducing plastic use at events and gatherings. So that's a really good point because I'm actually in the process of planning my wedding. And if any of you guys have ever been to a wedding or anything like that, you know that at the bar they use like all these like plastic cups and then they just like throw them away. And you imagine like my wedding is like 120 or so people. People are not only having one drink, so that's like, 200 plastic cups that people are using or more. And I'm feeling really overwhelmed by it, but we're getting there. So that's a really good point. There's a lot of events and things that you don't think of that really use a lot of plastic. A lot. But use tote bag, yes. Community outreach and sustainability initiatives, yes. Educating yourself on ways to reuse or DIY, yes. So something we didn't talk about is kind of DIYing things. So you repurposing, right? So I know it's very easy, and some of you guys are talking about, want to always have a new outfit and going to the club and this party lifestyle in Miami, and people, you have like a rip in your jeans, and your first thought is probably, I'm going to toss these jeans, I'm going to get a new pair. Valid. We're conditioned to think that way. That's okay. But what about patching it up? What about putting your sewing skills to use, learning how to patch up your own clothes, putting a cute little patch on it? I think now we're getting a little bit more like patching your clothes is becoming cute and stylish. So I'm very happy about that. I've seen a lot of farmers markets here in Miami. If you guys like going to farmers markets, or in other areas in Florida, I've seen like there's a literal booth for someone who, she's like an artist, and she creates these like beautiful artistic patches, and people bring their clothes to her that are ripped, and broken, and she gives you a patch and you're able to put that patch on your clothes. That's cool. I mean, who would have thought that that's a good way to reuse? You might think, oh, I didn't even know that that was something sustainable. DIY things, yeah, I mean, we're so used to just throwing away everything that, I'm done, right? 1 minute, it's fine. But yeah, anyway, I think all of these answers are really incredible, spreading awareness, educating others, refusing plastic, right? All of these things, and I think you guys really captured the essence of what I was trying to tell you guys today, is just do what you can. Take what you will from this and educate someone else on it, implement something new in your life. But yeah, so thank you so much for being here. I will be here for any questions or follow-ups. I'm also here as a resource as well for anyone who is into environmentalism or wants to get more involved with Clean Miami Beach, or wants to start being in this avenue. I've been doing this for a long time, so if you have any questions, I'm here. But thank you all so much. Yay!
Thank you so much, Jeena, for inspiring all of us. And I hope all of you are leaving this session with a lot to change in our human consumption to continue supporting our marine life and also the oceans as well. Thank you so much for being here. And as a reminder, TTR continues next week. We are going to have a session on Spain, the sense of community. This is going to be a bilingual session, Spanish and English, led by the Ministry of Education of Spain, honoring Hispanic Heritage Month. So we look forward to seeing you all next week, and thank you so much for engaging today and for being part of our TTR. Have a great day.